What's up everyone? So today I wanted to just answer a few questions. I haven't done a Q&A in a while. I went through basically my Facebook inbox, Instagram, and some of the YouTube comments and pulled out a couple, what do I have, like 7 questions to answer, and you'll probably see some in the title. And I just wanted to answer some, and I like doing these. A, it's an easy video to make, and we get to interact, and I get to talk back to you a little bit. So let's just start off this bad boy right here. The question here from Austin, and kind of a statement. He goes, "Hey Eric, I shoot with a Fuji X Pro 2 like you. Great camera, one of my favorite cameras of all time. Very enjoy it, awesome. But I say you and others mainly use full frame for professional work, especially like a D750 or now your Canon stuff, which my Canon 1DX Mark II. Should I go full frame?" You know, it goes back to the whole full frame, crop sensor debate, what's better and everything like that. The separation is very minimal at some point. There's pros and cons to each. There's, you know, different looks and stuff you can get with your full frame stuff. It really only comes down to what are you shooting? I mean, what's your budget? Why do you think you need to upgrade? Are you being limited with older gear? Like if you have a very older camera, like especially, you know, 4 or 5 years back and everything, maybe even 3 years, the low light might be an option. Then you like, okay, well, maybe I should upgrade to something like that. But once again, you say you shoot with the Fuji X Pro 2. Fuji doesn't make a full frame camera, unfortunately. I really wish they did. But lens-wise, it doesn't make sense for them. They do sell a medium format camera, which we're gonna stop there talking about that. But if you really wanna go full frame and you wanna stay mirrorless, really the only other option is Sony at this point, because at this point in 2018, in April, there is no Canon or Nikon mirrorless camera that's full frame, and that can go there. So if you really want to do that, look at some of the Sony stuff, but just stick with your Fuji if you really don't. If you're just looking for full frame, that's your only other option. But really, it just comes down to what you shoot, why you think you need to upgrade, and you can go from there. But in all reality, probably just stick with your X Pro 2 and see what Fuji comes out with in the future, or if something really strikes you about a Sony or something. Oh, we'll wait to see what happens. Jenna asks, what is my workstation and what is my CPU setup, and do I use Adobe Photoshop or Lightroom or something else? I just have a 27-inch iMac. I have 40 gigabytes of RAM in it, so it really holds up well to what it is. I had 32 that I put in along with the 8 stock that I got with it. And I use the Apple wireless keyboard with the numpad right here. It was like $100 some. I actually really enjoy something like this. It's not as tactile as I really like, but I like that it's wireless and that it's easy to charge and holds a charge for a while. And then I have one of the new Logitech MX Master 2S mouses. This is my favorite mouses of all time, the MX Master series. Very ergonomic, very comfortable. And in regards to what do I use to edit photos and everything, I'm interested in trying other stuff, but I pretty much just use Photoshop. I'm not a big fan of Lightroom, even though it's easier to catalog and do all that stuff in library. I just like Photoshop. So that's what I use. And Steve wrote on Instagram, what's more important in street photography, the people or environment? That is a great question, and it depends. I would say both. As long as you can convey the story or message you're trying to tell in your image, they might go together. I like people and environment together. I look for, at least for what I really enjoy, is I like an environment, a really nice setting or something interesting like graffiti or some neon lights that would frame someone or something, and then people to walk through it, and that captures that for myself. But there are times where I really just like an environment, like kind of like an urban streetscape or something like that, where I like the way the stop sign is looking with the sky or something a little bit more abstract. So it really depends on the look you're going for, but both can be used to tell a story. You can use both together, independently. Sometimes it's the people. You might like people more for your portraits, your street portraits. I think the answer is both. Sean wrote, where is my dream place to photograph? I really, really want to get to Italy. I'm saving that for something special though. But I really want to go see the Northern Lights, the Aurora Borealis. I just really would love to experience that and photograph that and just have some fun there. But how about you? I'm going to ask you guys the same question. What is one of your dream places to go that you want to photograph? Let me know down in the comments below. But Italy, the Northern Lights would be pretty awesome at some point in my life. Question from Ryan, carbon fiber or regular aluminum tripods, or some of the stuff you see on Amazon? Tripods are a great necessity to have, especially if you want steady images. If you're doing landscapes and everything, it's just great to have something like that. Like I like to do long exposures during the daytime, and I absolutely need a tripod. It comes down to your budget and your costs. Of course, carbon fiber is one of the better ones out there because they're lightweight, they can hold a lot of weight, and they're easy to go around, but their price tag is usually much more significant. So keep that in mind. But there's nothing wrong. I use a lot of, and it's not a sponsor, Me Photo stuff. I really like what they do. They fold down, they're compact. Manfrotto makes great aluminum ones as well. Their Be-Free video tripod is absolutely stunning, you know, under $300. So there are a lot of options out there. If you could go carbon fiber, I would probably say go. But if you're on more of a budget, I don't think it's a big deal. And the weight difference does become pretty minimal in some regards. But once you get the really big, heavier studio type tripods, the weight can factor in. So if you can't go carbon fiber and you're looking for smaller frame stuff, I don't know if there's a need to go carbon fiber per se. You can save those few $100s for something else. Or if you're looking for the big studio stuff where you're traveling a lot, it's probably a good option and worth the investment. But getting a good tripod no matter what is definitely worth an investment. And I wouldn't get the cheapy Amazon stuff. You know, it just doesn't work out. Mike asks, why don't I show more portrait live model shoots on my YouTube channel or on Instagram or anything like that? The easy answer is I don't really enjoy those. It's great to see someone's workflow, someone's style, but a lot of it is so uninspired in my opinion, and that's not a slight against anyone. I just really don't enjoy that stuff. I enjoy more of the wedding, tell a story type of thing, or just going on the street and doing street photography, capturing candid moments, tying in elements to work something together. That being said, yeah, I'm just not a big fan of the portrait stuff. I had a couple that I did years and years ago. It's just not my forte. It's not my style. This is a very, very good question, by the way, and it pretty much will wrap out everything that I have back here. Someone asked, what are the best ways to scout or see a location you can't get to before a shoot? Now, this was interesting because I pretty much do everything along the East Coast where I am around the New York and Philadelphia area. I go around there. You know, you're less than 2 hours away for that matter. But there was something where I had to go like Baltimore, Maryland, and of course, I've never been to Baltimore, Maryland before this, and I'm not going to drive down there hours and hours and hours just to see it. I have to come back up and everything. So if you can't physically go see something, there are two big options, I would say. Google Earth and Street View, absolutely great. You plug in the address where you need to go. You can zoom around the streets. You can look around your 3D view. You can see where parking is and all that kind of fun stuff. That is one thing I highly recommend if you can't physically go to a location. The other thing I'd say is Instagram. People use hashtags. People use, you know, if you wanted to see something in New York and you've never been there, you want to use the hashtag of the place you're going, or say you've never been to Times Square before, which would be shocking if a lot of people have never seen images from there. But if you've never seen what's around it or what it's like, use the hashtag, you know, New York Times Square, stuff like that, and you could absolutely go there. That being said, a lot of people have hashtags for places and restaurants and everything like that. So if that's the way you need to scout and you can't physically go there, that is the absolute best way to do it. If you guys have any more tips on that as well, write those down below to help this person out. So there are some of the questions and answers. I like to do these every once in a while. Once again, it's easy to make, and I like to interact. So if you guys have any more, always feel free to ask them wherever, and maybe we'll do more of these. But those are your answers to some of your cues. We'll go from there. Call that.